Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us on this hot afternoon, certainly in the UK. Today we've got guest speaker Ed Hook joining us, and Ed's the Director of Consulting at Pace. And today Ed's going to be sharing how Pace make their internal organisational process knowledge available through visually appealing landing pages, so that Pace colleagues can easily find what they need. So Ed, I'll without further ado, I'll hand it over to yourself to formally introduce you and kick off the drop-in.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sam. Nice to see some familiar faces. Looks like another one's just about to join, and some new ones as well. And if anyone wants to connect after the session, then feel free to just reach out on LinkedIn. It'd be great to carry on the conversation. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know when you see presentation come up. Yep, all good. Okay, cool. So here's the agenda for this afternoon. I'm going to do a very quick Pace introduction. I'm then going to cover why we think capturing and sharing process knowledge is a good thing to do. I'm going to talk about how we do that at Pace, and then I'm going to bring it to life with a demo of our Pace People portal, which is how we then deploy our process knowledge out around our people, processes, and other related content. I'm going to leave plenty of time then for feedback and any questions at the end. We've also got Tanya and Sarah, I noticed, have joined, both of which who were instrumental in building the process content and deploying it out. So if there's any more technical questions that I may not know the answer to, then I'm sure they'll be happy to jump in and help out as well. A quick introduction to Pace. So as a business, we're a change and transformation services provider. We believe wholeheartedly that customers of change and transformation services in general deserve a better deal. The results of change and transformation projects across the industry on average could be better. So we're on a mission to disrupt that market and take a process-led approach to change and transformation and give customers a better deal that they deserve. So it's a little bit about Pace. So a couple of slides on why we think it's important to capture and then deploy knowledge out to colleagues. So we help customers on their business process maturity journey. This is just one of the things that we do. One of the services we provide is a business process management service, which helps customers move up that maturity curve, take them on the journey. It's an example here of one of the customers we've recently benchmarked. So we've got a baseline of where they currently are in terms of their business process management maturity, and they're targeting being around level 4 in 18 months or so's time. It's not a fixed time that we're going to get there, and there's going to be some interim targets along the way, but we're basically helping them move on that journey. And one of the things that we do to help them get there is to help them rapidly discover their business processes, get them out to colleagues, adopted, and made available so they can collaborate on continuously improving them. So some keys to success around business process management and deploying the process content out. You can see a few of these are grayed out because I'm just focusing in on the pink highlighted ones. So one is ensuring that process knowledge is easily found and consumed. So one of the things we're really to do is not keep the business process content that we've captured hidden away and difficult for people to find. It should be easy for them to find what they need, and then when they get there, it should be really easy for them to follow. So that's where the Skore tool is really beneficial in helping us do that, and making it visual. Some of us might get particularly excited about some lines and boxes and the words we put in there, and there's a lot of value in doing that. But for most people, they don't get massively turned on by business process diagrams. For them, it's more consumable if we create some nice entry points into that process content. So we want to try and make the content as visual as possible, but also add some other iconography or content onto the process diagrams as well, so they're not just pure lines and boxes diagrams as well. We can show you a little bit about that as well. So one thing that helps, and I've mentioned it already, it's one of the reasons why we're on the session today, is that you really need a business process mapping or management tool to support with that. The Microsoft Office tools don't give you that capability, and that's one of the reasons why we use Skore. A bit on our approach then. We've got a suite of business process accelerators, which we use wherever possible as the starting point for building a business on a diagram, business on a page, top level diagram, and then utilize that to prioritize where we're going to then go and do some process mapping, more detailed mapping with the customer. So we support them on that journey of identifying where the priority processes are to be mapped, but build that into a framework, a hierarchy, where they can then map any processes that they want across the organization and have them nicely connected in, so they're not all disjointed, but they're in a holistic view of all their process content, all in one place, all in one place, easily managed and easy to connect together. And then to make it consumable, we deploy that out via those graphical landing or portal pages managed in Skore, but by default deployed out through Microsoft Teams. And the reason that we do that is we found, especially through lockdown, more and more organizations were using Microsoft Teams. A lot of people are spending most of their day in Microsoft Teams, and therefore deploying that process content so it's easy to find through Microsoft Teams is a logical place to do that, rather than having it disconnected and separate. So we try to integrate the two wherever possible. And then I'm going to come on to do a demo in a minute. So just wanted to reflect on something just before I do that. I think some consulting organisations talk about taking a process-led approach to change and transformation. We certainly do that. I think very few probably go to the extent that we do in terms of mapping and managing our own internal knowledge and drinking our own champagne by deploying it out in a way that we do with our own customers. So we really try and do what we do with our customers to ourselves, and this is just one example of that. Our PACE people portal, lots of other examples that we could share, and we're on a mission to have all of our processes across PACE mapped and optimized, so we truly are a process led business and have that for ourselves as we do with our customers. Before I then jump into the demo, I don't know if there's any questions at this point. If not, then I'm happy to carry on and go straight into the demo. Straight into the demo. So I'm just going to flick over then to our Microsoft Teams environment. Here we go. So the approach that we take, and hopefully you can still see my screen, still see the Teams environment. Sam, you can do that, yeah? See it okay?
Yeah, indeed.
Good stuff. Great. So down the left-hand side, we've got the Teams. I've hidden a load of them which aren't really relevant. It's got a few here. We just add an additional tab onto a channel. In this case here, we called it the PACE People Portal. Could be any number of these landing pages which we dot throughout our different channels. Just click on there. It's going to then bring up the landing page. You can see here. So on the right-hand side, there's content that isn't directly related to Skore. So we're just using this as a single place to put all of our content. So on the right hand side, we've got, for instance, a link to a form. So this enables our colleagues to provide feedback and provide questions to us, which we can then respond to. So that comes into a central inbox for us to respond to. We've got content like quick reference guide. So that helps colleagues who aren't so familiar with the landing pages and how to consume and read the content, gives them a guide on how to do that. Got links to Teams folders. So there's a link here then to our people forms. So quickly go straight to the forms, and you could, if you want to, you can navigate into our expenses forms and the general forms and so on. So all content that's not managed within Skore, but we're using Skore to be that central place where we create those graphical landing pages and then launch off to any other knowledge assets. So we did consider whether SharePoint might be used to create an intranet, but because it's so easy to create the graphical landing pages in Skore, we decided actually it was really quick for Tanya and for Sarah to design the landing page for our people portal and create it here and link off to all those different assets, which ordinarily you might then maybe have created an intranet page to bring this all together. And then for process related content. If I need to perform, say, my expenses process, just click into that. It's going to take me then into the right process in our manage people process hierarchy. So you can see here we've jumped down 3 levels in that particular map, and it's taken us right down to the processing of our travel and expense claims. We use a symbol for the systems throughout the process content, so you can see where a system plays a part, and over time we'll eradicate the use of some of the Microsoft Office tools as we move to more enterprise technology. But for now, we're a small and growing business, and they do for us for now. Our employees are called pace setters, so you'll see pace setter dotted around throughout the process content. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have quick links then to content on the right hand side, in addition to being able to navigate to it from the steps of the process. So here we've got a link to the expenses forms and some guidance, but you can also click on the links on the right to go to those forms. You can also open up the expenses reimbursement policy, and there's also that link to that same feedback and questions form. So that's dotted around the process content as well. You don't need to be on the landing page to then be able to access that. And then there's a thumbnail on every process page, so you can then click on the thumbnail and it will take you straight back to the Teams page here, the entry page to our people portal, where you can then navigate to any other process content that you might want to navigate to from here. Okay, so that's my presentation and demo. So open it up to the floor now, just to ask if there's any initial thoughts, any questions that anyone had. Feedback is always good. I'm sure myself, Tanya, and Sarah would love to hear any feedback that anyone has, and any thoughts around improving what we do. And kind of just wanted to get it out there and see what people think, really.